We have a massive discount for 44% off up until the end of Cyber Monday. Yes, there are limited spots, so make sure you do not miss out. Highly recommend joining the private community. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, how are my snipers doing today? You guys are doing fantastic. Listen, today we're going to be talking about the one, the only Zebec network. Listen, right? Zebec has continued to push up higher and higher. Here's the deal though, people, right? I love the way Zebec is moving, but I'm not so confident about Bitcoin. Okay, I'm not so confident about Bitcoin, and we are going to talk about Bitcoin in just a second. But look, we can see the last few days, let's just say from like the 19th to the 20th, we had a big sell-off, right? Bitcoin went down thousands of dollars in a single day. We started to recover ever since pretty much the 21st. So 5 days ago, kind of when we took out this massive liquidity zone right over here, right? Boom, it gets taken out. We start reversing, we start going to the upside. We have surged up now. I'm not sure exactly how much, but probably 70 to 80%. If we go and measure it, boom, like this, we can see at one point we're up pretty much 70%, right? So very nice for those people that have bought somewhere over here, right? Or over here even. Now, of course, I get Zebec is still down on the bigger time frame, but overall, right, if you're looking to be dollar cost averaging and you did dollar cost average down here, you got yourself very nice sniper entries. Look, after that, we talked about how Zebec was going sideways, and there's two possibilities. Either one, we break out of the zone, or we pull back first and then go up. Overall, the bias was still going up regardless. We can see ever since then, we have been fundamentally just playing, and retesting. We have, boom, a support over here, right? We broke up, we went back down, we retested off this huge zone over here. We continued to go up, right? We created a high, a higher high. Then we went back down, and now we are slowly going back up. So everything is looking fundamental, right? When we go and look at, for example, the lows, we have a low, a higher low, a higher low, and guess what? Another higher low. So fundamentally, we are looking sound. We are looking great. When we go and look at something like the daily, we are losing a little bit of buying pressure, right? We are losing buyer pressure. We do have a doji type candle, which usually does indicate reversals. So we have to be careful here, right? Because we did tap off this liquidity zone over here, this huge resistance, right? We have a huge zone that was pretty much retested more or less ever since, let's just say, the beginning of September, all the way, until the beginning of November, it broke out. But then even then, 11 days later, it got tested one way or another, right? Boom, we sold off. And again, we are back. So clearly this 0.0036 zone is a massive important zone. Okay, this is a zone that we need to flip in order for us to be really bullish. As of right now, we are showing, we're not showing the most promising signs, but it's not necessarily over. Yes, we have a little bit of a sell-off in the last hour, but objectively speaking and fundamentally speaking, we are still ultimately bullish. Even on the 1 hour, on the smaller time frame, we have these 1 hour swing zones here. Boom, 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 and boom. All right, we have another one. So even though there's actually a pretty decent rejection in this hourly, if the candle closes like this or even goes a little bit lower, it's most likely going to go higher because we are still continuously creating higher lows on the 1 hour time frame. Okay, so yes, we are seeing a little bit of a struggle right now, but it doesn't mean anything has confirmed and flipped to the downside. Okay, there's zero confirmation as of right now that there's any movement going to the downside. We just have, the only thing we have are signs of weaknesses, but it doesn't necessarily mean this is the end. Okay, I did say the one thing I am concerned about is Bitcoin. Granted, this thing did pump a lot over the last 2 hours or so, but I'm still looking to see how Bitcoin will be reacting off of these key zones of, let's just say, $92,000, right? That is where I'm looking for Bitcoin to be reacting off of. I really want to see how it reacts off there. If it's going to be rejecting very poorly, then I would expect a decent sell-off, at least probably down to 88K, maybe back down to 86, or even just a full-on pullback down all the way to the low 80s. Okay, so this is a very, very critical zone. This is a critical moment that we have to be monitoring, and we will be monitoring. And of course, if Bitcoin goes down again, $4, $5, $6, $7, $10,000, of course, that's going to affect the price of Zebec. Okay, that is just how it works. When we go and look at Zebec's monthly, right, we talked about how Zebec has been pretty much flipping this candle. It looks very, very nice. We still have a couple days left for the monthly candle to close. I did say already like a week ago, when we start to get some type of reversal signs, that I don't expect this month at least for us to flip the 0.0038, as it's usually very unlikely, right? Especially that we had a lot of sell pressure. If we take it from pretty much the top of the monthly candle, more or less, to the downwards part, at one point, we were down 43% in the month of November. Now we are down 10% from the start. So we already recovered, 33%. Okay, that's what I'm saying. It's so unlikely in 1 month to go down 43% at one point, then recover the 43% and also flip it bullish at some point. Okay, all in a month. That is very, very crazy and very, very unorthodox and unlikely to be happening. Okay, I am still personally looking at some of these zones over here. Let's just say around the 2.6, 2.5, and the 2.7. I am looking for a pullback because I do think, Zebec is showing signs of weaknesses. Bitcoin is near a very critical zone. So there could be a nice buying opportunity potentially somewhere down here. When I look at Zebec on the 3-month, this, yes, it's a sell-off, but you know what? Technically speaking, if we were to end kind of the way we ended right now, I know granted we still have a month left, this wouldn't really be that bad. It would show that, hey, we have been just kind of moving sideways because, we have been. And the thing is that that's kind of good for us because Zebec ultimately, in my opinion, is still preparing for the bigger picture. When we look at the bigger picture, we are stuck between two zones and we have to make a choice pretty much, conveniently at the start of January, early to mid-January at latest. So yes, I do believe Zebec is going to be preparing for a massive breakout sometime in 2026, especially early on in 2026. I think that's very, very likely possibility, right? This is the bigger picture. These zones over here, right? Just remove this, right? This zone over here, us ranging, that is the bigger picture when it comes to Zebec. I am still very, very bullish on this crypto. Right, I believe Zebec is going to do wonders this crypto altcoin season. We see we rank 134 out of 9,119 active cryptos. We have been holding our ranking extremely, extremely strong. No Coinbase or Binance listing just yet. We can see that we are at 322 million market cap, a little bit less than 15 million volume in the last 24 hours. Over the last month, we are down 13%. Over the last week, we're up 30%. And in the last day, we are down 2%. But overall, we can see in the last day, we've generally been kind of moving sideways. That is going to be it for this video. We are going to see, how everything works out here. And boom, we can see we continuous growth, right? Continuous growth. The other day, we went up pretty much 70 holders. So that's very, very nice. And that is going to be it, ladies and gentlemen. No, guys, highly recommend for you to join the private community. We are running a massive Black Friday discount, 44% for a lifetime. So it's not just for 1 month you get off, you get it for a lifetime. You will have a premium privileged subscription compared to those that join in the future. And yeah, man, it's really, really awesome. Highly recommend joining it. And I'll see you guys there. Love you guys so much. And I'll talk to you guys next time. Goodbye.